Hey everybody, how you doing? This is about to be a really fun video. In this video, we are talking about a cartridge that everyone wants me to talk about, but I haven't talked about in a little while. That is the 6.5 Creedmoor. If you're new to the channel, make sure you're subscribed. We got videos coming out every single day talking about stuff like this and more. Lots of outdoor stuff, lots of hunting, lots of cartridge comparisons, and answering all the questions that you guys ask me in the comments and in the messages all the time. So I appreciate y'all watching. Make sure everybody that you're subscribed and you've subscribed to the newsletter over there on whoteewho.com. But 6.5 Creedmoor for hunting. Will a 6.5 Creedmoor take a deer? Well, the short answer is sure. Lots of people have done it. But I'm going to give you some of my experiences with the 6.5 Creedmoor and with some of its cousins. Then at the end of the video, we're going to closely compare, really nerd out on some of the data and see how does it stack up against some other stuff, older stuff, newer stuff, and everything in between. This is going to be a whole lot of fun. Let's start right off the bat. 6.5 Creedmoor. So, if you put into the interwebs, whoteewho 6.5 Creedmoor, you will find we've done tons and tons of videos. As a matter of fact, let me go grab one right now. I'll be right back. So here we go. This is the first 6.5 Creedmoor that I ever got. This is actually my OG 6.5 Creedmoor, starting of my Ruger American collection. Way back when I first started filming videos, I said, I got to get a 6.5 Creedmoor. Not because I wanted to hunt with it, but simply because it was hot at the time. Everybody was talking about it, and I wanted to have a 6.5 Creedmoor to make videos on 6.5 Creedmoor. So that's what we did. This is the first bow light slinger that I ever got hits at 1,000 yards with. Let me roll in some of that footage.
All right, I'm on it. All right, when you're ready.
Whenever you're ready. Toe left edge.
Hear it?
Yeah.
You hear how long it takes to get back?
I'll see it wiggling.
So at the time, I had a bigger optic on this, much more better for long range stuff. I've gotten incredible groups out of this 6.5 Creedmoor. Let me roll in. Best group I ever got out of this was, I think, a .24 inch group with some Remington Sirocco's. Check this out, or Sirocco's. That is probably the best 6.5 Creedmoor group I have ever done in my life. With that Sirocco stuff, 130 grain. Our first group was a .474. And quite honestly, I was really excited about that. A .4 inch group at 100 yards, I don't care who you are, that's awesome. But check it out. We let it cool when we were messing with the weatherby and came back and did it again. Look at that. 3 touching, 3 almost in the same hole, but 3 touching. That's a .253 inch group, guys. So all in all, this thing, very affordable, Ruger American 6.5 Creedmoor. And it gets good groups. Why have I never hunted with it? Mostly because I like to be weird. And I like to take deer with stuff that's kind of weird and not everybody's doing. I always have this saying that I say, if you carry a Glock every day, you probably wear your hair in a man bun and you probably hunt deers with 6.5 Creedmoor, because it's kind of, in my opinion, a hipster / fatty type thing to do, 6.5 Creedmoor. I don't know. Take that for what it's worth. Now, the 6.5 Creedmoor was introduced by Hornady back in 2007, I believe is what it was. Specifically built as a long-range target cartridge. That is why Hornady made it. 6.5, you can get really high C bow lights in the 6.5 Creedmoor. You got a lot lower recoil than some of the other long range stuff, like a 300 Win Mag or a 7mm Rem Mag. But it's flat, those high C 6.5 bullets, the 264 bullets, and that's what the Hornady came out with. Long range target shooting rig. taking an animal is all about placement and bullet construction. I would never recommend to anybody to take on a deer hunt some target ammo, which is what 6.5 Creedmoor was designed for. But as it started getting hotter and hotter, you know, in the industry, people said, well, let's load some hunting bullets in those and see what it does. So that's what people have been doing. Now, before we get into the data and compare the 6.5 Creedmoor, let me make sure I'm showing you the right one. Nope, that's the wrong one. Oh, that's the wrong one. Hold on, I'll be right back. All right, I got one. Let me show you. This is the 6.5 Creedmoor. This is actually a Remington core lock tipped. Probably what I would take hunting if I went out chasing a deer with the 6.5 Creedmoor today. But I told you at the very beginning, I have not taken a deer with the 6.5 Creedmoor simply because I like to be weird. This season, maybe we'll change that if you guys want me to film that. But I have taken deer with two of its cousins, the 6.5 PRC and the 6.5 Weatherby RPM. Both of those also in the 6.5 category, with just a little more horsepower on them. So let me stack these up and let me show you. So I've taken deer with two of the 6.5 cousins. Now let me just, for reference here, show you. The green tip, that is a 6.5 Creedmoor. The red tip, that is a 6.5 PRC, much more recent of a cartridge. The blue tip, that is a 6.5 Weatherby RPM. That's been out 2 or 3 years now. Now, let me show you the footage of the 6.5 PRC, me taking a deer last year. Advantage of the 6.5 PRC, it's still using those same 264 high BC long bullets, but you can get on average 200 feet per second faster than the Creedmoor. Let me show you this footage real quick of me taking a deer last year with the 6.5 PRC.
You got it. No, she's behind the stick. You got it. Alright. Dropped it right there.
So, nobody's going to argue with me that the 6.5 PRC won't take a deer, because that deer dropped in its tracks. That was the biggest doe I've probably ever taken in my life. Now, also last year, I had the opportunity to hunt with this 6.5 Weatherby RPM. And similar story, I took a nice buck down in Texas, immediate drop. Check this footage out. This is about 200 yards if I remember right.
Dropped him. I didn't have to look for that one.
So, you also can't argue with me about the 6.5 Weatherby RPM being a fantastic cartridge as well. So, all that being said, 6.5 Creedmoor. Well, it's a lot more readily available as far as you walk in a store, they're going to have a rifle in 6.5 Creedmoor, and they're most likely going to have some ammo for it. 6.5 PRC is very new. Kind of hard to get a rifle and ammo still, kind of. And then the 6.5 Weatherby RPM. You can get those, and you can get the ammo straight from Weatherby. You're going to pay a little bit pricier of a tag. Some of the PRCs are a little bit pricier on the rifles as well. But let's do a deep dive into some of the data. I told you this PRC is 200 to 300 feet per second faster. Woo! That Weatherby, you can see the size, guys. These Weatherby loads, I got the box right here. Muzzle velocity on a 26-inch barrel with this Weatherby RPM. These are 127 grain Barnes LRX. Muzzle velocity of 32.25. So with those Weatherbys, don't quote me on it, I'm going off my memory here on my head. You can get, depending on the loadings, of course, and what we're comparing to 6.5 Creedmoor, PRC 200 to 300 feet per second faster than the Creedmoor. The Weatherby 300 to 400 feet per second faster, maybe even 500 if we compare a heavy 6.5 and a lighter Weatherby. I don't know. All that being said, I've taken deer with these two 6.5 cousins. Maybe this year we'll film one with this. I'll grow my hair out to a man bun and I'll carry my Glock. All jokes aside, let's get into the data, do some quick charts, and just compare the 6.5 Creedmoor. And then you can make your own decision if you would want to hunt with this thing. Like I said, bullet placement, I harp on people all the time. We took 2 deer with 50 grain 22-250 last year. One of them an 8-point buck. So I would much rather you have a smaller round and have perfect placement than a bigger round like a 300 Win Mag and have poor placement, if you catch my drift. We took 2 deer last year with 50 grain bullets, okay? You can do it if you are accurate. That being said, I could ramble on about this all day. Let's just look at the numbers here. Before we get into the numbers, I just had a real quick thought to talk to you about. So, I hunted a lot last year. I think we put 13 animals in the taxidermist. You guys saw the videos. If you missed some of them, go back and check them out. Or just type in whoteewho hunting. There was a common theme across every place that I went and hunted of the outfitters and the guides not liking 6.5 Creedmoor. One guide specifically, when I told him I was hunting with the 6.5 Weatherby, he said, "Oh man, we have people hunt with those 6.5s all the time and we've lost so many deer." And I said, "Oh, you mean the 6.5 Creedmoor?" He said, "Yes, we hate 6.5 Creedmoor. We have lost so many big whitetails because people bring those 6.5 Creedmoors and we just can't find the deer." So, I've never taken a deer with 6.5 Creedmoor yet. We probably will this year, just so we can have it on film. But I talked to many people last year as I traveled all over the country that they frowned upon it because it is losing deer. Again, if your shot placement is perfect, you hit them in the heart or the neck or the spine, you know, they're not going anywhere. But these guys said they have lost a ton of deer to the 6.5 Creedmoor. Just some feedback from people that are out hunting a lot. Yeah, let's look at the numbers. All right, so I'm going to make this quick, but I'm putting up a bunch of data on the screen here. We're going to compare 6.5 Creedmoor, 6.5 PRC, the 6.5 Weatherby RPM, those 3 we talked about earlier in the video, and then I also threw in the 270 because it's going to surprise a bunch of you guys. So check this out. This first data set, we've taken everything out to 1,000 yards. This is the drop chart in inches. I've done the drop calculations on every single one of these. We've done, since the focus of this video is on 6.5 Creedmoor and hunting, I put 4 6.5 Creedmoor loadings. Those are the yellow. Then I put 6.5 PRC in the blue, then 2 different 270s in the green, and then 2 different of those Weatherbys in the purple. So, right off the bat, what does this data mean? We're calculating the drop every 100 yards out to 1,000 yards with every single one of these. The color codes, take for example, let's start out at 200 yards. The reddest is the most drop, or the worst. The brightest green is the best. So let's just, best meaning least drop at that distance out of the loadings that we're comparing here. So let's go to 200 yards. 6.5 Creedmoor is nowhere near the top. So basically what that's saying is 6.5 PRC is better than 6.5 Creedmoor from a drop perspective. 270 is better than 6.5 Creedmoor, and the 6.5 weatherby RPM is better than 6.5 Creedmoor. So just to focus on one quick, at the 200 yards, 6.5 Creedmoor Remington core lock drops 4 inches at 200 yards. The core lock tipped 129 grain drops 3 inches, and you can go on down the line. That 6.5 PRC loading, that's a Remington Premier Long Range 140 grain, that beats every single one of the 6.5 Creedmoor loadings from a drop perspective. And then we go to 270. Well, that 270 150 grain loading beats 3 out of the 4 6.5 Creedmoors. Well, and the 130 grain 270 loading, again, from a drop perspective, that 270 loading beats all 4 of the 6.5 Creedmoor loadings. So really, generally speaking, 270 is better than 6.5 Creedmoor. Who wants a 6.5 Creedmoor? Well, 6.5 Creedmoor's got less recoil than 270. Not a ton, though. Then let's go to the Weatherbys, those in purple. The loading with the least amount of drop across the board is the 127 grain Weatherby RPM. So if you just took this and said, I want the 6.5 with the least amount of drop, no matter what, there's your winner right there. 6.5 Weatherby RPM, 127 grain Barnes. And then I also put a 140 grain RPM load there, just to have more of an exact comparison, because 140 grain is kind of a typical spot for 6.5 Creedmoors. And it still drops less than every single one of those 6.5 Creedmoors. You can see those numbers. But you guys can freeze this. And I'm going to pop up a picture right here, because sometimes it's easier to look at pictures. That pink one on the top is that 127 grain Weatherby RPM, meaning it drops the least to 1,000. That blue one is the Remington core locked 140, meaning it drops the most. Now, I'm going to pop up these numbers really quick. Same conversations, except now we're talking about energy at 100-yard increments as opposed to the drop. Right off the bat, you can look at the colors. All the red is at the top. 6.5 Creedmoor has the least amount of energy when we're comparing it to the 6.5 PRC, the 270, and the 6.5 Weatherby RPM. So let's talk about the energy real quick before we finish the video. If you go by that 1,000 foot-pounds of energy to take a deer, all of these loadings pretty much are good out to 500 yards. That being said, most people shouldn't be hunting deer at 500 yards. I know some people do, especially out west. Antelope and such that are harder to get close to. Whatever floats your boat, do your thing. I'm not going to tell you what to do. But all these have enough energy up just about to 500 yards to take a deer. Some of them considerably further than that. But let's look at it. All the 6.5 Creedmoors in the yellow, they're in the red. That means they have the least amount of energy at every distance compared to these others. So from a drop perspective, 6.5 Creedmoor is not the ticket. From an energy perspective, 6.5 Creedmoor is not the ticket. I'd rather have a 6.5 PRC, 270, or even that Weatherby RPM is a zinger, and it's got the energy. And again, I'll pop up the picture because I sit here and did it. So there you go. There's the picture. You can take a look at that and study it if you want to. All that being said, guys, does 6.5 Creedmoor work for deer hunting? Based off the numbers? Sure. We just looked. It's got 1,000 foot-pounds of energy in most loadings out to 500 yards. That has more energy than a lot of other stuff at those distances. And it's pretty flat. I'm not going to harp on it from a drop perspective by any means. Compared to a lot of other things, it's flatter. But we did look at some other stuff in this video that's even more flatter, like a 270 or a 6.5 PRC. There's also 300 PRC, 7mm PRC, 7mm mag, 300 Win mag, stuff like that. But even in what we looked at today, it's not the flattest compared to some other stuff that's pretty common. All that being said, throwing data at you, making some controversial stuff to talk about. The thing that the 6.5 Creedmoor does, however, have going for it, I got to throw a bone to the 6.5 Creedmoor lovers, is it has less recoil. So I didn't calculate those numbers or put them up. But if I were to do that, the 6.5 Creedmoor would be all bright green on those charts because it has less recoil than everything else we talked about. So what do you want? You want the boogie, you want the power, you want the less drop, you want the less recoil. Put all that together, combining less recoil, that is when the 6.5 Creedmoor starts to outshine some of the others. That's why it was made as a long-range target precision from the start. You can stay in the scope, you can see your misses, that sort of thing. But hey, let me know in the comments down below what you like. Make sure you guys are subscribed for more videos like this. Make sure you go check out all of our other videos. Make sure you guys have checked out whoteewho.com and signed up for the newsletter. We're doing giveaways and stuff up there all the time, blog posts, all type of cool stuff. You don't want to miss it, whoteewho.com. Appreciate y'all. Comment down below what your favorite is. We'll see you on the next one. Also, tell me your stories of 6.5 Creedmoor. I probably spent this entire video saying why I don't like 6.5 Creedmoor, but hey, it'll take a deer. I've never done it, but I have with some of the cousins, so on and so forth. Now I'm rambling. If you take deer with 6.5 Creedmoor, more power to you. Comment down below your stories with 6.5 Creedmoor. Appreciate y'all. We'll see you on the next one. Hooty hoo!